Getting started with video can be a little intimidating, especially when there are so many numbers and technical terms that you see on your GoPro, like FPS. And even if you've heard of the term before, it can be a daunting task to select the right frame rate. Well, fear not. In today's episode, I will be sharing with you everything that you need to know about frame rates and how to go about to create that epic slow motion speed ramp effect. The video chapters are in the description, so let's go! First and foremost, FPS. What is it? FPS is also known as frame rates per second, and frame rate refers to the number of image captured per second and the speed of how fast those images are shown over a period to give the appearance of a moving visual image. The more frames that you have per second, the more fluid and smooth the video will look. In general, the standard video plays back at 24 to 30 frames per second. What that means is that if you shoot anything above 30 frames, you will be able to slow down that footage and achieve that slow-mo effect in post. Now that you've understood what frame rates are, here are the frame rate options on your GoPro. NTSC at 60Hz that shoots up to 240 frames, and PAL at 50Hz that shoots up to 200 frames per second. Now, you must be wondering, what is NTSC or PAL? And how come I do not see all these frame rate options at once? Well, NTSC and PAL are the two main video formats used around the world, as electricity and light operate at a different frequency, 50Hz, 60Hz, depending on the region that you are in. In general, NTSC 60Hz is widely used across Central and North America. As for the rest of the world, PAL 50Hz. And by toggling the right frequency, you will be able to eliminate that nasty flickering effect, just like what you are seeing on this video. By default, your GoPro camera is set to NTSC, like this one over here. And as a rule of thumb, because I am based in Asia, I always set up my camera to PAL, just like this camera over here, to eliminate those nasty flickering effect. So if you are based in Asia like me, why not give it a try? On screen right now is a quick reference guide to slow motion and its corresponding frame rates. So feel free to go ahead to do a screenshot. With that, it brings us to our final chapter, how to create epic slow motion. To capture this sequence, I set my GoPro to 1080 240 frames per second, and here is what it looks like when you play it back in real speed. Very normal. Now, in post, I decided to slow it down to 8 times to create this hyper-realistic scene where you see the bubbles slowly rising to the surface. It's amazing. The level of details captured in 240 frames per second is simply stunning. Now, let me show you how this is done. For this simple edit, I will be utilizing the GoPro Quick app. So what you want to do is to open the GoPro Quick app, and as you can see, I've already downloaded the clip that I just shot in 1080 240 frames. So go ahead to open that clip up. What you want to do next, to tap that pencil icon and then the speed ramp tool. At this juncture, what I like to do is to scrub through the project to find the interesting moment that I want to apply the speed ramp. So at this particular juncture here, as you see the bubble rising up, what I want to do here is to add an entry point. So I'm going to hit the plus button to add an entry point. Next, before I actually add the exit point, just as the bubble surfaces to the water, I am going to select 1/8 speed. So that is about 8 times slow motion. Alright, so next I'm going to hit the tick to conclude my exit point. And what I want to do now is to just play back this clip. Wow, look at that. Awesome, huh? And that's it, you know? And that's how you create this epic slow motion speed ramp effect. It's a really simple workflow. So, what happens if you forgot to set the right frame rates? Can you still achieve that slow motion effect in post? Unfortunately, the amount of slow motion that you can achieve in post is directly limited by the number of frame rates that you set. If you do not have enough frame rates, your video will end up looking very jittery, or some people would say it looks very choppy. Here is a good example. This shot is set to 25 FPS and the other is set to 100 FPS. If I play it back in real speed, they both look fine. Now, let's see what happens if I set the playback to 4 times slow motion. The shot that was set to 25 FPS is visibly more choppy and jittery because it does not have enough frame rates. Well, this concept of frame rates is so important to understand because if your intention is to create a slow motion video, it is important to select the right frame rate when you are shooting. And that's it for this week's video. Well, I hope that you have a much better understanding of frame rates. So go out there and start creating some epic slow motion videos. And when you do, feel free to tag me in them. I will see you in the next upload. Bye!